Okay, this is the one. The Temple of Ahn'Qiraj. This is good. Wait, why would he eat his own eye? Okay. Invader Zim? Wait, really? I never watched that back in the day, except for like 3 episodes. Oh my god, this is actually pretty good then. Holy shit. Damn, dude. Invader Simp? No. Okay, that's... I'm impressed. I'm actually quite impressed.
Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Dungeon Dives.
Yes.
In fact, this is the biggest episode of Dungeon Dives yet, so let's just jump into it. Like always, there will be timestamps for specific parts in this video, and we'll start off with how some of the loot will work.
I think the volume should be fine right about here.
40-man raid. Tier gear is very similar to how it's done.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and just give you guys a spoiler. Here's how the gear is gonna loot. It's gonna work. McConnell, did Paladini talk to you about this? Okay, well basically here's how it works. I'm gonna get all the gear at the beginning, and that way, you know, we don't like it. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get all the gear.
AQ20. To get a piece of gear, you will need to collect 2 sets of 5 scarabs, and these are the exact same scarabs you loot from AQ20.
These are BOE.
You'll also need 2 idols, and these are specifically unique to AQ40.
You just buy them.
And you'll also need tokens that drop from specific bosses in the raid.
Easy.
In order to get all 5 pieces of gear, you will also need to be honored with the Brood of Nozdormu.
Another cop.
Which is a lot easier than it sounds, because you actually start at hated with this reputation. To gain rep, you'll need to run AQ40, and there will also be rep increasing items like the QIRAJI Lord's Insignia and the Ancient QIRAJI Artifact that gives significant boosts in rep.
The QIRAJI Lord Insignia is in vanilla WoW? I thought they added that in like BC or something. It is? Oh wow, what the fuck? I didn't even know that, okay.
So, with each level of reputation, you get a new ring that is better than the last. While AQ40 does not have any attunements to get into it, that doesn't mean that there's some prep work that needs to be done. Nature resistance is a big part of AQ40, so get a bunch of greater nature resistance potions and gear.
I'll get like 3 of them.
Also, AQ40 is not an easy raid. So far in Classic, we've been doing raids that are pretty simple, but AQ relies on significantly more coordination by your raid, so for this reason, I'd probably suggest that you should not pug it. With that being said, gather 39 of your guildmates, and let's enter the Temple of Ahn'Qiraj.
I do think Cthulhu will be hard. I do think that there's going to be a lot of groups out there that are going to struggle a lot with Cthulhu, because they'll stand next to each other and chain to beam. All of the other bosses, even Twin Emperors, I think is going to be pretty easy.
Your friends
you guys can't wait to watch? I can't wait to do it. I'll be raid looting AQ, by the way, at the beginning. So you guys will get the true experience.
Die.
Let's go ahead.
Welcome to AQ40. Upon entering, you'll find your first challenge. Obsidian Eradicators are like the little moems from AQ20. They'll drain your raid's mana, and when they get the full mana, they'll explode and do a lot of damage. So Priest Hunters and Warlocks drain their mana, but if your DPS is good enough, you could probably just tunnel them instead.
That's what we did in AQ20.
These Anubisath Sentinels are up next. Each of these adds get 1 random ability from this pool.
Dude.
Just cast Detect Magic on each of them to see which ability they have, but here's the catch. When one of them dies, all the others heal to full, and they gain the ability of the one that died. So it's your raid's job to decide which one to kill first, and look, I'll be honest, dude, if you fail to kill these adds, you probably won't get far in the raid. So thankfully the portal is right behind you.
It's right there.
You could just leave now, okay? You'll need to fight 2 of these packs, and then
those are pretty easy to deal with.
Prophet Scarab.
Spineless wretches, you will drown in rivers of blood.
Scarum will need to be tanked in the center of the room, and he has a 1-second cast time on his Arcane Explosion spell that can and should be interrupted.
Yeah, it's super easy.
If the person with aggro on the boss is not in melee range, he will spam cast Earth Shock, which will
actually does like a lot of damage.
Player.
Does like 2k
so make
damage.
Sure the tank has threat at all times.
Yep.
He also casts a spell called True Fulfillment, and this is a mind control that makes the affected player very big and very dangerous, so be sure to polymorph them. The most important ability Scarum has is at 75, 50, and 25% health, he will split into 3 copies of himself.
Okay.
2 of these copies are fake, and 1 is real.
You can see which one that has less health.
Have a very small health pool, but can cast the same spells. So these copies spam casting Earthshock on your raid would not really be a good idea. So the melee in your raid need to split into 3 separate groups.
This is easy.
1 here, and 1 here.
That's right.
Ideally, you'd have 2 tanks for each group in case one of the tanks gets mind controlled or 2 Scarum copies spawn on the same platform. Yes, that can happen. Focus down the copies as fast as possible, make sure your tanks stay at their spots and maintain threat, and you should be good, and Scarum
this boss is a joke.
Loot.
Like that, this boss is a joke. I'm gonna get this cloak right here. I'm gonna get this neck. I'm gonna get the chest piece, and I actually need this mace for my healing set. So all of these items on the screen, I'll all be getting. Yeah, this boss is a fucking joke. I will be amazed if we wipe on this boss. Like, but the Earth Shocks do a ridiculous amount of damage. I'll say that for sure. And also, I think that you can also cast the explosions, so they have to die super fast. Barrage shoulders, let's see, what are these? Oh, nature, okay, that's good. Yeah, all the rest of this stuff sucks.
Shortly after the Prophet's death, the doors of the temple slide open and you can venture inside.
That's pretty cool.
The inside of AQ4 is a labyrinth of caverns and alcoves that take a long time to navigate. Thankfully, trash mobs within the raid have a chance to drop QIRAJI Battletech mounts
I need the first red one.
To quickly navigate through the temple.
I forgot to say that. I need the first red one.
Let's talk about some of the difficult trash you will face at this point. These brainwashers should be your top priority as they will mind control members of your raid. Venka's guardians will knock up your tanks, so face them against the wall. Venka's warrior packs will summon a ton of small adds on death that will need to be AoE'd down. And keep right and you can face the first optional bosses of the raid. These bugs can be killed in any order you'd like, and all 3 of them have unique abilities
based off of which one you kill.
Lord Kyr is going to be the most dangerous of the 3. He has a cleave, so face him away from your raid. He also has a toxic volley that will place a poison dot on your whole raid.
This does a ridiculous amount of fucking damage.
It needs to be dispelled.
Yeah, this one's a real cock.
He spawns a poison cloud that you should not stand in. Princess Yanju has an AoE fear for people in melee range that wipes aggro even if you resist it with a fear ward or a berserker's rage.
Really?
Ideally, you'd want a tank that is out of range of this AoE fear, just waiting for it to go off so they can swoop in and grab the boss.
Damn, yo, I didn't even know that.
The princess will also heal, but it can be interrupted.
What the fuck?
And upon death, she will summon a bunch of small adds.
You gotta kill the cocks.
Vem is the easiest, as he just has a charge and a knockback ability, and you can cheese him by tanking him in one of the alcoves in the room so he doesn't charge.
That way nobody gets knocked back.
In fact, you can use this strategy for Princess Yanju too, but you just need to make sure that your tank isn't LOSing the healers in the process. If Vem is the last bug standing, he will enrage, and upon death, he will enrage the 2 other bugs. So no matter what order you kill them, you will be dealing with a pissed off bug at the end of the fight.
It doesn't matter.
The strategy for these bosses is pretty simple. You just focus them down one at a time, and make sure you're cleansing poisons, and you should be good. But here's the catch. The loot tables are different for whatever boss you kill last. Most people want to kill Lord Kyr last, as he drops the best loot, but it's also the most difficult route to take, because he's dealing a bunch of increased damage to the tanks because Vem is dead.
Yeah, you need the potions and shit for this.
So if your raid can't handle this damage or you want different loot, killing Vem...
Like, this boss is fucking awesome. Like, for a vanilla WoW boss, this is one of the coolest bosses in the game. You have 3 different bosses. They all interact with each other. You have to tank them all in different places. They have multiple mechanics, each one. There's a meaningful choice that determines the outcome of the gear and the rewards that you get from killing the boss. This is really cool. I've always liked this boss a lot. You choose your difficulty? Yeah.
Last would probably be
This is probably one of the coolest bosses in there.
If you kill Lord Kyr last, he drops this loot.
We're not killing him
last. If you kill Princess last, she drops this loot.
Who gives a fuck
about that garbage? If you kill them last, he drops this loot. And this is the loot that they all share.
Those gloves are kind of good.
Work your way through the tunnel filled with guardians, and you'll find the next boss, Battle Guard Satura. Okay. Be careful though, because she has an incredibly large aggro radius. This fight can quickly turn into utter chaos if not managed correctly.
Fight's a joke.
Satura and her adds will randomly fixate on targets throughout the fight for 5 seconds, and then return back to the person with the highest aggro.
Right.
This, coupled with their whirlwind abilities, can spell disaster for the ranged in your raid.
This is a joke-ass boss.
Because of this, you'll want your party spread out in a taunt rotation for warriors so they can keep Satura in the same spot during these fixate moments.
Yeah. Come on over here! Come on over here! No, you flip me off! Come on, coward! No. Come on! You're not an intellectual! You're a fake and a fraud!
When her and her adds are not spinning around, they are susceptible to stuns, so your raid should try and keep them stunned as much as possible, and this will also help your melee DPS not take as much damage from the whirlwinds. Her 3 adds will need to be tanked by 3 tanks and faced against the wall away from the raid to counter their knockback ability that they have. Killing the adds first will be your first priority.
Yeah, you just
Lastly,
kill them.
Satura will apply a Sunder effect on the tanks and enrage at 20% health.
It doesn't
This
matter.
fight's main focus is just to keep the boss and her adds under control during their aggro wipes. Work together as a team.
It's so easy.
To control them, and you should be good.
Like, this fight is so easy. Dude, this... go back. Look at this right here.
To control them, and you should be good. And she drops this loot.
Look at that trinket. Gives a chance on melee and apply an armor penetration. Acquiring the target's physical armor by 200% to your own attacks. The armor penetration can be applied up to 6 times. It is fucking insane, dude. This trinket is really, really good. Trinket sucks in PvE. Who cares? In PvE, doesn't matter. I'm talking about PvP. Like in PvP, this is fucking awesome. This trinket is amazing. I love this trinket. Just 200, not 200%. Even more. That's even more. And then also the gloves are pretty good here. I'm not going to go for these gloves, probably. Actually, I mean, like... No, because I get the gloves from Cthulhu. That's right. Okay, I do need the leggings, though, for my flask set, though. Look at this. And then what are these here? Silithid Claw, this kind of sucks. Let's see, is there any more good gear here? No, not really. All the rest of this stuff sucks too. It's just a bunch of caster bullshit. Nobody cares about that.
To get to the next boss, you'll face the Scarab Gauntlet.
Oh, this
Think
is
of this kind of like the suppression room from BWL,
even
except it's at
70, people had trouble doing this. It was so bad.
At the end of the gauntlet is the next boss, Frankus the Devourer. But the problem is that he has an incredibly large aggro radius. In vanilla World of Warcraft, this spot here was the safe spot where you wouldn't aggro the boss.
Because if you walked past that little fucking point down at the bottom, you would aggro the boss. Like, I'll be honest, guys. I am the most excited. I am more excited to do AQ4 than Nax in vanilla WoW. And I know that might sound weird to say, but like I kind of already did Nax at level 80. But I've never had the chance and the opportunity to do AQ4 in like its original state. And I've always really wanted to do that. And yeah, it's like I did level 80 Nax, and I know all the mechanics. I know everything about Nax. So there's like nothing that's going to be like a surprise. There's no learning for me to have. It's just I know everything about the fight, and it's just, you know, it is what it is. Understand? But yeah. You have no idea. You didn't even play. Wait, what? The twins sucked. Yeah, you didn't even play in vanilla. 2008 is TBC. I played in vanilla. I got 60 in vanilla. I rated in vanilla. I don't know why, like where that meme came from, but I certainly did. Lady Nax is much easier. Yeah, I did. I know that. But it's still the same raid fundamentally. Like I've still done it. It's like I did LFR for the raid. I've never done LFR AQ4.
For the Scarabs. I'm assuming that in Classic it will be the exact same way.
I didn't. I started
so now you can drink up,
in July.
Buff up, and get ready to pull the boss.
Yeah.
First off, Frankus has Mortal Wound, which is a cleave that also applies reducing healing stacks, so face him away from the raid and tank swap when stacks get too high.
During this fight,
hatchlings will spawn from these big buttholes, so you'll need an off tank to round them up so they can be quickly AoE down. When these hatchlings spawn, a random player will also get entangled in webs and teleported to the entrance of one of these bug tunnels. Healers need to be aware of this because these players take heavy damage.
Yep.
Lastly, the most important ad you'll need to kill are these worms called the spawn of Ahn'Qiraj.
They've enraged, dude. These things cock. These are.
1 to 3 of these worms will spawn, and after 15 to 25 seconds,
they
will enrage and start one-shotting members of your raid.
They're ridiculously powerful.
Should be quickly dispatched.
They are
as
super
fast
fucking
as
powerful.
With another easy boss down.
So this sword right here, I'm getting this sword right here. Ancient QIRAJI Ripper. I want that sword. That will go to me. Also, the Barbed Choker. This is a necklace. Increases 1% crit, 10 stam, 44 AP. That one's going to go to me too. And let's go look at the other items.
He drops this loot.
Chest piece, that goes to me. I get the chest piece. Let's see. Leggings. I might get those leggings even though they don't have any strength on them. Those leggings actually are pretty good. 2% crit on those legs. Might as well just give those to me in case I want to use them differently. Shoulders as well. I could use those for a little bit more dodge avoidance set. And, you know, maybe get the chest piece there for my flask set too.
Enter the gaping chasm on the left side of the room and travel up the ramp, and we can face the most unique but annoying boss.
This boss is fucking cool,
Viscidus is like most bosses.
I like this boss a lot.
The fact that he has a poison volley that he'll cast on the raid, and he'll create clouds that are, well, you guessed it, it's poison. But here's the catch: in order to damage this boss, you'll need to freeze him. To freeze him, he will need to be hit by 200 frost damaging attacks.
200, dude.
Doesn't matter how much damage these attacks do, there just needs to be 200 of them.
He also needs to be reduced down to 0 health.
Frost wands, frost oil on weapons, rank 1 frost bolts.
Your
whole raid needs to work together to freeze him. When Viscidus is frozen, he will need to be shattered by having your raid perform 75 melee attacks on him. After that, he will explode into 20 slimes around the edge of the room. Each of these slimes represent 5% of his health and slowly move towards the center of the room.
This is so cool, man. I can't wait to do this raid, man.
This part is where your raid will need to do as much damage as possible to these slimes. If a slime is damaged but not killed, that will not transfer into damage on the boss. If you are a part of a pro gamer guild that all has engineering, having everybody use sapper charges when the slimes get really close to each other will be ideal. Do all that, and he should be dead, and he drops.
So, for this boss, I need the trinket right there. Ring of QIRAJI Fury, 12 stam, that helps me stay alive, 40 AP, helps me hold more threat, more critical strike chance, more threat again. I'm obviously going to need that one too. Let's see. Yeah, that's all I need from that boss. Yeah, so we need to make sure to kill him for the mage weapon. This mage weapon is insane. 72 spell damage and 1% crit. That's fucking ridiculous. This Scarab Brooch, by the way, was so good because it scaled with like a percentage of value. People would use that Scarab Brooch right there during heroic Lich King progression in phase 1 to avoid getting infested. Like, like the gear, like everything about this raid I'm really excited to see. Like, it's fucking awesome, man. Optional boss for skipping this guy? Yeah, right. This boss is awesome.
Backtrack back, go to the large entrance in front of you, and keep pushing forward. On your travels to the next boss, you'll face some more difficult trash.
Like, these trash mobs are
wasp
so fucking
packs
annoying.
Come with these lashers, which are basically little sarturas that will fixate random members of your raid. These wasps have a poison called Catalyst Poison that will need to be dispelled quickly. That is because a member of your raid that has Catalyst Poison will be one-shot by the stingers, which will randomly charge people in your raid. And if that member of your raid has Catalyst Poison on them...
Now that's a lot of damage!
And speaking of awfully deadly and annoying enemies... Now it's time to face Princess Huhuran. Huhuran is a fight that is hard and fast. The catch is that nature resistance is very, very important for this fight.
This is a joke fight.
Especially for melee. Huhuran has an ability called Poison Bolt. This is an AoE spell that afflicts the 15 closest people. She will also cast Wyvern Sting on the 10 nearest targets, which will put them to sleep. But if it's dispelled, it will deal 3,000 damage. So only dispel it on your tanks. And oh yeah, tanks will also have to deal with her Acid Spit ability, a stacking dot that will require you to have 2 tanks. During this fight, Your melee will play as the meat shield for these abilities.
Yeah,
They'll
they get
need
hit.
to be stacked with nature resistance potions and gear to survive this onslaught of damage, so your ranged DPS can focus on killing Huhuran. But that doesn't mean that range doesn't have problems
it's
too.
not.
Noxious Poison is a dot that will be placed on a random player and silences them for 8 seconds. This poison spreads to other players around you, so your raid will need to stay spread
out.
Lastly, she will periodically go into a frenzy, which needs to be removed by a hunter with Trank Shot. At 30%, things will get wild when she permanently enrages and starts dealing massive damage. DPS will also need to deal massive damage, but also keep track of their aggro and kill her as fast as possible. Huhuran.
So on the first week of doing this, I'm actually going full prot for the first week of AQ, so I can tank it and not die. And like going into the raid, I'll probably have like 10,000 health unbuffed, or actually not unbuffed, buffed up. And this boss is gonna be a joke because you just use the trinket from fucking Maradon, the Noxious Core, and you're able to dispel a lot of the debuffs and shit. Like this boss also has 1,000,000 health. It has as much health as Ragnaros. So you're having like a fully buffed up like raid full of warriors that are taking tons of damage. They're just deep dicking this boss, killing it so fast. It's a joke.
Is one of the more difficult bosses in this raid.
That was easy. It is, but you want to make sure that you have the right gear. And you go into it the right way. See that cloak right there? I probably need that cloak. The bracers there, the Hive Defiler wrist guards, those are good for my DPS set. I want to have those. Also, the QIRAJI Bindings of Command, I need those as well because those are going to be for my tier set, which I'm going to be getting very quickly. And let's see. Yeah, that's all I need.
He drops this loot. Down the hallway to the next boss, you'll face these Anubisath defenders. These are the same mobs you fight before the last boss in AQ20. These are the 4 different abilities they can possibly have, and it's possible that they can reflect these schools of magic. Just use detect magic on them, make sure your raid is flexible and can adapt to these abilities, and just listen to your raid leader because these can be more difficult than some bosses.
The meteor is really what kills you. Yeah, the meteor is like really bad.
As you approach the next boss, the foulest stench is in the air. The funk of 40,000 years, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the Twin Emperors. When you are wannabe starting something, you are going to need to pull these bosses to the edge of the room over here. It's very important that you keep the twins split because they will heal each other if they
heal each other for like
close.
250k each tick.
Vecnalash is going to be the target the melee in your raid are going to be focusing down. He has an ability called Unbalancing Strike, which will inflict high damage and increase the tank's chance to be crit. He has a knockback that will target a random member in melee range, so face him near a wall. And lastly, Vecnalash will mutate bugs around the room and make them big. These need to be grabbed by an off-tank and focused down, or there will surely be blood on the dance floor.
So, the thing is with like this boss, is the hardest part about this boss is knowing how the mechanics, the threat drop mechanics work. And I don't even know, like I've never, because like in Project 60, I figured it out like down to a T. And I'm curious to know like if he's going to tell it the right way. Like, that's the only hard part about it.
Vecnalash cannot be damaged by magical spells, so casters, you will be attacking his brother, Veclor. Veclor will explode the bugs around the room that do AoE damage. He also casts a blizzard that you shouldn't stand in, and he casts a shadow bolt and an arcane burst that he uses on people in melee range that blows them back. So that makes him pretty difficult to tank.
He only does the arcane burst if somebody's in melee. If he's not in melee, if nobody's in melee, he never does Arcane Burst. He only does it whenever it's triggered by somebody getting too close to him.
Right? Well, that is why Veclor needs to be tanked by a Warlock.
With Searing
One
Pain.
Warlock will be on each side of the room, and they need to use Shadow Resistance Potions, Shadow Resistance Gear, and Talents, and be spam casting Searing Pain on Veclor, and they need to not stop till they get enough threat. Also, Veclor is immune to melee damage. Every 30 to 40 seconds, the twins will teleport and swap sides. 5 to 10 seconds before this, your melee will want to start running over to the other side. This is because 1, Veclor can't take melee damage, so they would be useless, and 2, after the teleport, the twins will have threat on whoever is closest to them, which should be the tanks. Now, despite Veclor...
It can also go to pets. Anybody who's a prospective raider, the teleport, it will go to a pet. So even if you don't, you need to make sure you have your hunter pets out. Because if it goes to a pet, you are fucked. Yeah, no Garfields in your raid, exactly. You need to make sure you don't have any pets on the boss, and like warlocks are all using imps, or you know, the warlock that you have there is using a fell hunter for obviously like reduced magic resistance and soul link, so they're not taking as much damage.
Being very unfriendly to melee, you'll want a tank to grab that initial threat from the teleport, and then the warlock tank will pull the threat from the normal tank, and then that tank can run away. Rinse and repeat this dance of swapping threat and maintain communication. Just beat it, and the twins drop this loot.
So, let's look at this. Kalimdor's Revenge. McConnell, do you want this sword? Great, alright. That means I'm getting it. Alright, so the sword actually isn't very good. It's a shitty item. It has high DPS, but it's not as good as Ashkandi in any real way. We also don't know if the proc scales with spell damage. If it does scale with spell damage, I'm pretty sure it's going to be better than Ashkandi or even Dark Edge of Insanity for PvE rets. But it's not easy, dude. Come on. It is easy. Like, it is. Like, it's easy. Like, the thing is, like, most raids are easy. The reason why classic raids are easy, let me explain why I think classic raids are easy, is because you can delegate the responsibilities in the fight to like a select group of people. So, for example, in like Ny'alotha or in Battle of Desire War or Eternal Palace, you have to have these mechanics that every single player has to do. And in classic WoW, you can offset all of that by shoveling almost all of the responsibility into a select group of people in the raid, and then everybody else can be completely fucking clueless. So, for example, Firemaw is a very hard boss in BWL. Why is Firemaw a very hard boss? Because every individual player has responsibility. And Cthulhu will also be a very difficult boss because every single player has responsibility, and those individual players can mess up the entire raid. Even what's his name? Fucking Veilstress is the same way. You have 40 people, at least 10 of them will be fucking idiots, but it doesn't matter though. That's the thing. Is like this boss is only hard if people don't move out. Veil is the same, but it's easy. Yeah. Primarch is easy. Twins took very long to kill back then. Twins have 2 million health. So yeah, this boss is going to take a while. This is definitely a, what's the word for it? It's, I don't know what you really want to call it. It's a marathon fight. Yeah, it's a marathon fight. Yeah, it's an endurance test, something like that, sure. But the thing is, like on here, you need the 2 tanks and then the 2 warlocks, and then everybody else doesn't really need to do anything right, besides just move out. That's it. But all of the other responsibility is offset onto those individual people, which is why I think the fights are easier. What is this here? It's a shitty ring. Okay, who cares about defensives? What about this bracers? Oh, wow. Look at those bracers. Holy shit. 15 strength, 16 agi, 1% hit? Holy fuck, I want those, man. Those are really good. Oh my god.
After killing the Twin M's, you'll face the worst trash in the whole instance. To play it safe, you should pull each pack into the room that you killed the twins in. These packs are mostly just combinations of adds that you've killed previously in the raid, but they're still extremely deadly. Your first priority should be these Mind Slayers. These are the guys that have the Mind Flay and the Mind Control. Also, when they die, they do a Drain Mana and a Fear for anybody close to them, so they should be pulled away from your raid when they die. Next are the Slayers. These need
the main reason why you wipe and trash an AQ is by aggroing extra trash. Like, that's like the #1 way for making a mistake. Is that you fuck this up, all this stuff is going easy? Well, I mean, we didn't really wipe in BWL. It's like you just wipe and fuck it up that way. That's the main thing.
tanked far away from casters because of their AoE silence, and they will enter a frenzy that needs to be removed by hunters with Trank Shot.
Yeah.
Lastly, they will also knock back the tank, which wipes aggro. Your last priority are these QIRAJI champions. They also have a knockback and an AoE fear, and enrage, so they should be dispelled. The other packs you'll face here are the nullifiers and the wardens. These nullifiers are the same ones you've killed at the start of the raid.
These are really annoying to deal with.
They need their mana drained, and your raid needs to focus them down one at a time. The warders need to be tanked far away from everybody else because they have these abilities. But once the nullifiers are dead, they should be pretty easy. Carefully work your way through these packs, hold left, and you can face the second to last boss, which is Oro, who is...
He's a bug. He's a worm.
Where the hell is he?
Oh, shit!
Oro's primary ability is Sweep. It's a cleave attack that will knock back anybody who is hit by it. So face him away from a raid, and a tank is going to need to use Intercept to charge back into the fight midair. Sandblast is another dangerous ability that stuns everybody in front of him for 5 seconds, so it's very important that you have at least 2 tanks for this fight. During the encounter, Oro will burrow back into the ground, and you'll need to dodge his Quake ability. This is signified by a bunch of flying rocks
It's so
on the
easy
ground,
to avoid.
During
You just
this
walk
time,
away from it.
Scarabs will also spawn that need to be rounded up and killed. Make sure your raid stays spread as when...
You know what we should do? We should do, like, we're not going to do it today, right? But, like, maybe, like, tomorrow or the next day, why don't we go in there with 60s and do this raid? Like, right before it comes out. And, like, I can show you guys how all the mechanics go. That's a good idea. We could go in there with 60s. Or it was such bullshit. That'd be fucking awesome. Like, let's do that, maybe, like, tomorrow or the next day. But why? So we learn to fight.
Oro re-emerges, he will deal damage to anybody above him. When the boss reaches 20% health is when things get crazy. He attacks faster, deals more damage, scarabs spawn, and quakes are happening all around the room, so he's not really an easy boss. So things can get pretty bonkers, but when the boss is dead...
Okay, so from this boss, I need the gun. I also need the trinket there in case, you know, I want to have like a little bit of avoidance. On top of that, the helmet is very good for a healing set. And Jam Gabar is a very good trinket for DPS because it gives you a lot of attack power. So I'm hoping to get those 3 items, and then also, of course, the thing. Where's our Mythic Ny'alotha?
He drops
After this, we do Mythic Ny'alotha. Actually, give me a second. I need to take a piss, and then we'll be back. Give me 1 sec. Why does the worm have a gun? It's not a gun. It's an actual larva.
All the other bosses dead in the Temple of Ahn'Qiraj, you can face the last boss.
Your heart will explode.
Before we even talk about Cthulhu, we need to talk about the pole. Cthulhu has an ability called I-Beam, which is casted on a random player and chains to other players. Each player it chains to...
If you guys ever did this fight back in the day, even at 70 or 80, the odds are that the first time that you did Cthulhu, somebody walked in the doorway, aggroed the boss, and the boss I-beamed the entire fucking raid standing right at a line of sight of him, right? Because for me, I've had that happen like 40 fucking times, man. It would make me so angry every fucking time. Only through the walls? Yeah.
Makes it do significantly more damage. This, combined with the narrow doorway the whole raid is forced to walk through to start the fight, can be problematic for your raid.
Here There it is, dude.
Betray your friends.
So to pull the boss, you'll want all of your raid mounted up on QIRAJI mounts facing the wall, ready to pull. To start the fight, you'll need a tank, a hunter, or just someone with a lot of nature resistance. Charge forward and soak the first beam. After the beam is casted, then your whole raid can get into their spots. Positioning and personal responsibility is imperative for this fight. To make it easy for everybody, assign each group in your raid to a specific part of the room.
We already have this. Like, my guild's already created a chart for like where everybody is supposed to stand.
This will help everyone stay spread and avoid taking damage from the I-beam.
Every 2 hours to 20
The I-beam is going to be the number one reason why you will wipe on this boss. Cthulhu also has an ability called Dark Glare, where he will turn red and fire an instant-killing laser beam
it's super easy to avoid.
Slowly rotate around the room. It's very important that members of your raid maintain proper positioning, and by the end of Dark Glare, they should be on the opposite side of the room
just rotates.
to avoid being stacked up. During Phase 1, claw tentacles will also spawn.
Kill them.
These tentacles will appear below a random player and knock them up, and it's important that a tank gets them ASAP and they are focused down.
Then you have the big boys.
The next priority are these eye tentacles that will cast Mind Flay on random members
you
of
can
the
interrupt
raid.
it.
Have DPS kill them quickly, and make sure none are up during Dark Glare.
Easy.
When Cthulhu's eye dies, the rest of the old god will rise from the darkness, and you'll have to deal with Phase 2 of the fight. Some new ads will be summoned during this part of the fight.
Those are the big
Giant
boys.
eye tentacles will have the same eye beam ability Cthulhu's eye had, but they can be interrupted and stunned.
I didn't even know
Normal
that,
eye tentacles will also spawn on a much faster rate during Phase 2. Giant claw tentacles will also spawn under players and deal massive damage to anybody in melee range, so make sure a tank grabs them as quickly
can, like,
as
almost
possible
one-shot you.
and focuses them down. Phase 2 is all about ad management because Cthulhu has a shield that stops him from...
Technically, he's not immune to damage. He just takes 99% less damage. I just want to go ahead and throw that out there in case there's a little bit of an inaccuracy in this video. He actually takes 99% less damage.
Actually?
Exactly.
The only way that he can be damaged is a random player during Phase 2 will be eaten and teleported inside Cthulhu's stomach.
This is why you need the nature
Players
resistance.
in the stomach have a stacking dot on them, but they need to kill the tentacles to lower Cthulhu's shield so your raid can damage him. When the tentacles are dead or the DPS inside the stomach are taking too much damage, they need to go to the teleport pad in the middle of the stomach.
I remember this.
DPS, tanks, and healers have a chance to be teleported in the stomach. Tanks should get out as fast as possible, healers should top everyone up before leaving the stomach, and DPS need to stay in as long as possible to burn down these tentacles.
This is where you use your potions if you need to.
And the raid will have 45 seconds to deal as much damage as possible.
He only has a...
It's likely that he will need to go through 2 vulnerability phases to kill him.
So, I mean, he's only got 1,000,000 health. So the odds are that... I think like a fully geared like BWL raid will probably be able to kill him in one go. Only 1,000,000 health? Well, yeah. Only 1,000,000 health. Exactly. Yeah, 1,000,000's a big number. Not whenever you have 40 people attacking him. And there's no other mechanics because he doesn't spawn the ads whenever he's actually purple and he's vulnerable. And also I think the ads are also stunned, so it doesn't even matter. So you just have every single player in the raid focusing damage on the boss. And there's no I-beam. You don't need to worry about that either. It is a fucking joke. Do you kill Rag in 30 seconds? No. You can. People kill Rag in like 20 seconds. You have 45 for this boss. You have better gear. You have everything getting lined up for that exact point. People pooling resources. You're going to destroy this boss. Like a 51-second Rag average? Yeah, I mean, like maybe you have to go through 2 of them. But I think that like you have every single warrior popping Wreck. You have everybody popping their CDs. Like fucking like a Mighty Rage Potion, like everything. This boss is going to die.
No, it's crazy. It's a classic WoW boss that actually has mechanics that you need to pay attention to. But when you manage to defeat the old god,
hard either way, though.
He drops this loot.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the loot. The trinket, I need the trinket just for RP's sake. It's pretty important for me to have that since, you know, I'm like one of the top, I'm like the guild master, so it makes sense for me to get the trinket. I don't care about the rest of this stuff. Gauntlets of Annihilation, I want to talk about those. I need that, and that's going to go directly to me. It's really good, great item. Death's Sting. I know this might be a little bit confusing for some people, but the dagger is also going to go. It's also going to go to me because of how much damage it does. It's a very good dagger, and 66 DPS, very, very high. So that one also goes to me. And then talking about Dark Edge of Insanity, we're going to throw McConnell a bone. McConnell gets the first one of those. And ring, don't really give a shit about the ring. Who cares about it? And you also get the cloak. I want the item that drops from the boss, like the Eye of Cthulhu. I want to get the cloak from that too. The necklace is also really good too. I'll probably get this for defense. And the Scepter of the False Prophet. I know this might be a little bit confusing again for people, but for my flask set, this is 187 healing. It's really, really good, and I'm thinking that I kind of get that one too. That does make sense. So it just to make the healers' lives easier.
When Cthulhu dies, he will also drop his eye that can be turned into this cool cat just
really
outside
good.
of the arena, and it'll tell you to go to the Caverns of Time, and this rewards you with some rep, and you get a choice between these 3 items. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is AQ4.
Cloak's really good.
You could make it out alive, and didn't catch too many diseases in this disgusting bug tunnel, and hopefully, I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
So, pretty much... I'm really glad he added that in. That really just kind of like really just brought it home, you know. It's very good. So obviously, like, the video is fucking amazing, okay? I'll link the video, you guys can watch it, give it a like, etc. Oh, Jesus Christ. I sense a withering, balding husk will soon watch this video with a bunch of mouth breathers in his chat. See, this is what you guys don't get. Is like they're saying this shit about you too. This isn't just about me. Like, I'm just having fun, okay? I'm just playing the game. But like, you guys are getting roasted at the same time. So keep that in mind.